Welcome to the Salish Sea Fellowship annual poetry service. Today, our members get to present their favorite poem and a little bit about why it's important to them. We hope you enjoy this recording of our service, and we hope to see you in person some Sunday afternoon. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Liz. We on? That was amazing. Thank you, Liz. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Salish Sea Fellowship. I'm Nils Peterson, representing your board of directors. And before we get started, I have a few announcements. We're continuing our leisurely summer schedule. Our next event will be a potluck right here on August 9, 2 weeks from today. And our next service will be on August 23rd and will feature Liz Barnes, whom you've just heard, as our speaker. Thank you. And come September, we'll be back to our usual first and third Sunday services with a potluck in between. Our breakfast club, hosted by Karen and Sarah, continues every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. at the beautiful and scenic Bayview Restaurant. Everyone is welcome. The ALPS fall semester will begin in mid-September, so the program proposals are due August 1st, which is more or less the end of this coming week. The link for online submissions is in the latest update, but if you've had any trouble or you just want to discuss a possible idea, please see Joyce after the service, who's over there. Many of us have difficulty succinctly explaining our liberal religion. Some years ago, Reverend Bruce Bodie wrote a most helpful 3-page handout entitled, "What is a Liberal Religious Community?" And he's given us permission to share it. Joyce likes to call it our SSF Bible. I like to call it the Bodie Manifesto. Copies are available for the taking back at the welcome table. I also wanted to mention, I'm not sure if folks notice, our fellowship has a benevolence fund for the benefit of individuals and families that find themselves in financial difficulties. Its purpose is to meet basic temporary needs such as food, shelter, clothing, utilities, medical care, and so forth. It's for anyone in need, whether members of this fellowship or friends or just the general public. If you know of someone in need, please contact Karen Wamstad, our Caring and Concerns Coordinator, and that's Karen right there. Lastly, please also don't forget about the coffee table jar for contributions to help CUMC's store and outreach. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the Salish Sea Fellowship. Whether you are here in person or joining us on Zoom, we are a religious community with open hearts and open minds. We embrace the traditional principles of Unitarianism and Universalism. Welcome. My name is Rob Wamstad. I'm the pulpit assistant today. If you have not already done so, please place your phones in silent mode so as not to disturb the time that we're together. At this time, I'd like to ask if there is anyone visiting us for the first time, if you would stand or raise your hand so we know who you are. And Karen will come to you with a microphone so you can briefly introduce yourself. Are there any visitors? I see towards the back.
Hold the mic like this.
Hello, my name is Candace McKay. I've moved here about 7 years ago from New York, as you probably could tell after my first sentence. Partly I live a life now largely of semi-monastic in some ways, of silence and solitude. I have training in ministries, and I'm a theologian, but that's a very long story. But the piece that's missing is having a community, which is a very precious thing, I realized, and something one leaves behind when one moves on. And I cannot say I was looking for this community specifically, but something drew me to it. I looked at your website, and I was very much impressed what has been done here in a very short time. And perhaps for my husband Stephen and I, this will be a good fit. And I thank you very much for having us today.
I only do the stand-up comedy. She does all of the writing. So when we do have that opportunity, we'll be signing up, I'm sure. Yeah.
He's a dummy, I'm the ventriloquist here, so.
Yeah, no.
Well, Candace and Steve, we really look forward to knowing you better. This is already a lot of fun. Okay, thanks, folks.
And now I invite us to settle in and quiet our minds. We will begin our sacred time together by ringing our chime. Pretty powerful. I don't know whose car. I guess. All right. We will now light the chalice with these words. Make sure I got them right. In times of light and times of darkness, may this small flame kindle what is good in us and in the world. Oh. I went off script, did I? I've got to get that out of my way. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's do this one. This is the one we did last year, so that works well. Let's not be in a rush for the glass to overflow. It must be filled first. As you know, that's a favorite part of Joseph's services. So, okay, let us join the Salish Singers in Morning Has Broken. You'll find the words in your order of service. We'll sing one verse. I'd like to bring Karen up now for the joys and sorrows.
I'm going to begin, as always, with the chalice next to us in plain view to remind us of the rest of the world. We receive news from all over the world, don't we? Every day, all day. And the world's people are not doing so well. When we take in the enormity of the world's suffering, we hope that there's light for them, that they have hope, that they have something to cling to. We wish we could offer more. What can we do? We don't know. We feel helpless. Maybe we feel mostly angry. of what's going on. It's too much, it's just too much to figure out what to do next. So let's just pause a second in remembrance of people who are suffering, people we know, people around the world whose faces we do not know. And let's think again too about what we can do amongst ourselves. Let's be close and personal. Let's look around our community, the peninsula, people in the room. What is it that we can do for each other? And what's going on with you? What are the needs? What are the celebrations? Anybody got something to share? Always with permission from others, of course.
Virginia Nixon, and I'd like to celebrate that Karen got good news. She thought she was going to have hip surgery again, but the tests all turned out okay. Still not feeling great, but that's certainly better than what was anticipated.
Yeah, I still walk with a bit of a limp, but at least I don't think that I'm hurting my hip replacement that I had 12 years ago. That I thought, well, 12 years, maybe that's as long as you get. Maybe it has to be done again, but apparently not. So I'm just going to limp around here and carry on. So anybody else got something on their minds that they want to share? Yes. Oh, what have you got for us, David?
I'm David Rimpf, and my former wife of 41 years, Linda Little, suffered a stroke 2 weeks ago. First went into the hospital and now is at the Life Care Center, formerly known as Kaitai. In 2 or 3 weeks, she'll be moving to Victoria Place, where she'll live in assisted living for some time as she rehabilitates. It's been interesting, and facilitating this process, I meet new, interesting, and generous people every day. The people at Kaitai, the people at assisted living, the hospital team, they've all been wonderful, as have many people in this congregation. Thank you.
My name is Nils Peterson. My secretary of many years back east, Karen, this past week lost her sister, who was only 55 years old. She also worked in my office for many years and was a good friend to our oldest daughter, Sarah. Karen's husband is also in the hospital with cancer. He had surgery. He's been intubated and not doing well. So thinking a lot about her.
Well, this kind of sharing brings us closer together. This is what the basis of our community is, and we welcome everybody to share as best you can. And say it again. Oh, I'm sorry.
How did I say that? At Gary Nelson's request, I would say that Howard Tees, that comes here, has been having a kind of nerve-wracking time for the last few months, in which his heart rate speeded up and wouldn't go down. And he had an appointment with a cardiologist on Wednesday, and she immediately admitted him to the hospital. And after 3 days of tests, it looks like they have gotten his heart rate down, and there's no reason to believe that there's any significant heart problem at all. So good luck, Howard.
I like it when it's good news. And other good news, I think I'm okay to say, because she's been putting the word out there. Flossie has, just back up a bit. She had ovarian cancer. She went through that, came back, and then she went through some chemo. She went through a little surgery there, which she's still recovering from. She's back on chemo again to finish out that course, and that'll be finished. She's maybe 2 more rounds to go. So early September or so, she should be finished with that ordeal. And her ovarian cancer has a marker that is really pretty exquisitely pinpoint and right on. It was up in the over 1,000, and now it's 10, well in the normal range. So It's good to have a disease where you have some way of marking what progress looks like. But progress for her will be getting up and going and being able to mix in people in her usual effervescent way, of course. So soon you're going to hear some of your friends share some poems. And then not only their poems of choice that they care about, that they're meaningful for them, they're going to be giving a little bit of themselves away, too. Why is this important for them? And so we have the pleasure of being able to share on many different levels in this community. They'll let you into their wisdom, their emotion. So respect them for their willingness to be vulnerable with us today. And in the spirit of poetry, just a quick one, by Mary Oliver. Pay attention, be astonished, and tell about it. We are soaked in distractions. The world didn't have to be beautiful. We can and should think about that beauty and be grateful.
Thank you, Karen. So, you're all aware that this is our favorite poem Sunday by now, I guess. And I have an introduction that I've loosely plagiarized from Joseph Benarnik. So bear with me with it. I won't do it as extravagantly as he does, but this is the way that he typically started things. Our annual favorite poem service is a joyous celebration for the art form called poetry. What this annual gathering celebrates is the presence of poetry in our lives, and specific poems touch certain lives in profound, persistent, and sometimes mysterious ways. And this service is deeply intimate service where our fellow members and friends stand publicly and say, listen to this. The exchange itself is one of the most fundamental weaves of any community, the voicing of something held dear and the attentive, respectful listening. It can be an intimate and vulnerable moment and reminds me and Joseph of an aphorism by the poet Antonio Porcia. I know what I have given. I don't know what you've received. So I thank each and all of our readers and singers, and especially those who are stretching themselves to do something to nourish this community. And I also want to bow to the listeners, readers and singers and listeners. Together, we're the lifeblood of poetry and community. Finally, 2 favors. First, as listeners, you're invited to open yourself to laughter, tears, insight, delight, the musicality of language you may not understand, and of course, poetic ambiguity. Second, please refrain from clapping after the readings. There is a way to applaud without slapping your palms together, and that's to go like this. And to show our appreciation on the front end, I ask our readers and singers to stand and face the congregation. Didn't know this was coming, did you? And congregation, if you would be so kind, please give these people a rousing ovation. All right. Thank you. And with that, I think we can get things underway.
Yes, thank you. The big step. Hello, I'm Joyce Francis. Good morning. Good afternoon. We keep doing that, don't we? I'm reading a poem by Vijit Ramchandani. He was born and educated in India through high school and then came to the United States for university and graduate studies. Here he became a cross-cultural consultant and trainer. That was a career I shared with him before moving to academia. Vijit and I developed a friendship at our professional society conferences. We both worked with organizations that had large immigrant populations. Vijit in Minnesota's Twin Cities and I in the San Francisco Bay Area. In time, I learned that he had a penchant for writing poetry. Tragically, Vijit died at the young age of 40 from a congenital heart problem. His family published this volume of his poetry after his death. It's entitled American Mango, which is the name that Vijit gave to avocados when he first encountered them in the United States. Vijit should have turned 66 this Friday. So in his honor, I read his funny poke at our profession and its largely American clientele. It's entitled Intercultural Communications 101. Here I am again in Middle Wobegon, teaching communications to good white folks who are curious and well-intentioned, but confess to me, like old friends, that they don't know much about India, except that there are a lot of poor people over there, and they have a caste system and bride burnings and lots of doctors and engineers and programmers, even though you're not one, interestingly enough, and you speak really good English. Sometimes it gets to me and I bristle, impatient with the ignorance and sad they don't know more, and that more people don't reach beyond their little worlds to find out about the big world out there. Other times, I try to be empathetic, try to walk a mile in their shoes, like the books say, and imagine myself asking these stupid questions to people I don't know anything about. Then it gets a little easier to wear my labels with a kind of third world charm, ever the ambassador at large for anyone with a tan, even though I'm 20 years removed from the mothership. Sometimes what I really want to do is tell them that I became fluent in the language only 3 weeks ago by taking a crash course through Berlitz. And now I'm ready to publish my poems and maybe run for mayor soon. And these good people, they'd probably believe me, like my cousin Sanjay's classmates in Houston. They asked him whether he rode an elephant to school in India, and believe him when he told them that he and his brother rode a baby one, while his parents had a full-grown one to cart them around Bombay. See, if we can get around on elephants, then surely we can learn English in a few weeks and go on to become doctors and dot-com millionaires who come to the great white north to find places like this, full of good white folks eating meat and potatoes, and talking about how great this country is now that we all have the opportunity to sit down together and tell each other how little we know about each other. But hey, at least we're talking and we're trying, which is better than nothing after all. You need to move this.
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, by now you know I'm Rob Wamstad, so I'll skip that part. My high school English teacher in Carson City, Nevada was Miss Bordewick. For me, she was a challenge, as was English. I can still see her slight figure sitting at a desk in the front of the class, on the other side of the room from the doorway, and next to the windows with the western sun shining on her. Every Wednesday, a one-page essay was due. So, you know who was up Tuesday night? Tired after football or basketball practice, sitting at the kitchen table, trying to figure out enough words to fill a page. You may have had the same experience. We received a double grade. The top grade was for content, and the dreaded lower grade was for composition. A comma blunder, a run-on sentence, or a fragment sentence, that is one missing a verb or a subject, was an automatic F. Even after my mother started proofreading my essay, there was an occasional F. Miss Bordewick was serious. She had us memorize poems and read Shakespeare plays. At times, we even had to create a poem. I believe that was my start to appreciating poetry, and later using it for years to clear my mind and record aha events. Memorizing Shakespeare lines from Macbeth is where my short poem comes in. It is an aside from a shocked Macbeth after hearing the witches say that he will become the King of Scotland. Come what may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day. For me, those lines resonated in college when I was studying late for a test or completing a paper. And for a moment, it created a pause to relax muscles, knowing that life will continue beyond the event. Even now, when I feel burdened, on overload, or deep in thought, I can take a deep breath and relax my muscles. Come what, come may, time and the hour run through the roughest day. On the internet, I found an interpretation of the lines that resonate. Whatever is meant to happen will happen, and time will keep moving forward no matter how difficult or chaotic the day is. I also had a more current thought, myself, maybe a warning that no matter how much I delay or procrastinate, time will keep moving forward. Time and the hour runs through. Miss Bordewick was highly regarded as a teacher, and even today, Karen and I reflect upon her teaching. In 1960, she became, recognized as one of 7 teachers of the year for the nation, and did meet with the president. She retired a year after we graduated, and later had an elementary school named for her. Quite an experience. You're next. At least you're on the program.
Read. Well, I'd like to help us to make a transition from the sublime to the ridiculous. I'm going to do The Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll, and this has been part of my life since 80 years at least, when my parents read this to me as a children's story, and 40 years ago I read it to my son as a children's story, and 20 years ago I tried out for a play, and I needed some kind of audition material, and I thought, well, maybe I could repurpose Jabberwocky as a hero's journey, and that's what I'd like to attempt here today. It takes a little background. This action takes place in a long-lost kingdom that's been harassed for months and years by a dragon. And the king has been unable to deal with the dragon, but his son has been watching this progress for all these years, and he's been training with all the best swordsmen in the land to become a knight and one day to take on this dragon and deal with it. And the dragon has been abiding way off in the distant shadowlands beyond the known. The dragon lives out there with other strange creatures with names we barely know. And the knight, or the youngster, the young boy, the son here, has been training to be a knight and has been just gifted with a sword, not any sword, a Vorpal sword. A Vorpal sword gives the owner freedom from fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and endows him with great courage. So he is about to launch on his hero's journey. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jub bird and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the manxome foe he sought, and so rested he 'neath a tum-tum tree and stood a while in thought. And while in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the Tudley wood and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal sword went snicker, snack. He left it dead, and with its head. He went galumphing back. Galumphing back, yes. Okay. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, Kaloo he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig in the slithy toves, did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves and the momraths outgrabe.
Well done, Gary.
Gary, did you get the part?
Okay, we will now have special, oh no, I'm sorry, we need to get Celeste up here. No, that's the next one. Okay, I'm sorry. Things are moving along, yeah, music. So you're after the next grouping, Celeste.
How about the one that's over here?
That's me, I'll be there.
The one behind you.
He said he was missing half.
It's behind you.
The other pack.
Rose
Hello, I'm Kate Madsen. My parents were happily married for 50 years until my father died in a nursing home of complications from Alzheimer's. He was a liberal, tender, social justice Catholic who walked the talk when it came to loving one's neighbor. He taught his children that good manners were essential and rudeness was inexcusable. My mother was the scarecrow to his Tin Man, a brilliant, curious high school librarian who often quoted poems to us, among them one by Ogden Nash, which concludes in this way. The suitable things you didn't do give you a lot more trouble than the unsuitable things you did. The moral is that it is probably better to not sin at all. But if some kind of sin you must be pursuing, well, remember to do it by doing rather than by not doing. The poem I'm going to read touches and tugs at me because it evokes both my parents' fine examples as well as my father's diminished last days. Though, truth be told, it also evokes a bit of residual Catholic guilt in me. And it reminds us all that missed opportunities can weigh more heavily than indulged vices. The Man in the Yard by Howard Nelson. My father told me once that when he was about 20, he had a new girlfriend. And once they stopped by the house on the way somewhere, just a quick stop to pick something up. And my grandfather, who wasn't well, it turned out he had TB and would die at 52, was sitting in a chair in the small backyard. My father knew he was out there, and it crossed his mind that he should take his girlfriend out back to meet him. But he didn't, whether for embarrassment at the sick, fading man or just because he was in a hurry to be off on his date, he didn't say. But he told the little uneventful story anyway, and said that he had always regretted not doing that simple, courteous thing. The sick man sitting in the sun in the backyard would have enjoyed meeting her, but instead he sat out there alone as they came and left, young lovers going on a date. He always regretted it, he said.
Thanks for the stool. I had a classmate at the Air Force Academy whose name was Bob Bull, and classes were engaged there for 11 months out of every 12, so we were together for 44 months out of 48 until we graduated. He was probably the most religious member of my class. He was asking the kind of questions that older men ask that don't have answers. He was my best man at my wedding. Later, he found a wife and he married her, and she was pregnant when he went to Vietnam. He did not come back. And this poem is, Ultima Ratio Regnum by Stephen Spender. And the title means The King's Final Argument. It was said to be inscribed on the cannons of Louis XIV's army. The guns spell many's ultimate reason in letters of lead on the spring hillside. But the boy lying dead under the olive trees was too young to have been notable to their important eye. He was a better target for a kiss. When he lived, tall factory hooters never summoned him, nor did restaurant plate glass doors revolve to wave him in. His name never appeared in the papers. The world maintained its traditional wall round the dead with her gold sunk deep as a well, whilst his life, intangible as a stock exchange rumor, drifted outside. Oh, too lightly he threw down his cap. One day when the breeze threw petals from the trees, the unflowering wall that sprouted guns, machine gun anger quickly sighed the grasses, flags and leaves fell from hands and branches. The treed cap rotted in the nettles? Consider his life, which was valueless in terms of employment, hotel ledgers, news files. Consider one bullet in 10,000 kills a man. Ask, was so much expenditure justified on the death of one so young, lying under the olive trees?
I'm Anne Virtue, and I'm going to read the lyrics of a song that I first heard when I was 7 years old. And in it, you need to go yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo. And since I can't sing it all, I expect all of you to go yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo. Now, Pecos Bill was quite a cowboy down in Texas. Why, he's the Western Superman, to say the least. He was the toughest, roughest critter, never known to be a quitter, 'cause he never had no fear of man, no beef. He's the toughest critter west of the Alamo. Yippee-yi-yi. Now, once a band of rustlers stole a herd of cattle, but they didn't know the herd they stole was Bill's. And when he caught them crooked villains, Pecos knocked out all their fillings. That's how the reason why there's gold in them there hills. Yippee-yi-yi. He's the toughest critter west of the Alamo. Pecos lost his way while traveling in the desert. Water. It was 90 miles across the burning sand. He'd never reached the water. Water. If he didn't get some water. So he got a stick and dug the Rio Grande. He's the toughest critter west of the Alamo. While reclining on a cloud high over Texas, with his guns he made the stars evaporate. When Pecos saw them stars declining, he left one brightly shining as the emblem of the Lone Star, Texas state. Now, when I first read that, I was 7 years old, and my parents had given me the best Christmas present ever, which was a combination radio and record player. Before that, in the evenings, I was never allowed to listen to my kid radio shows because it was only the one radio. And so now I could hear. I was much more excited about the radio than the record player. But the record player I was given had this as a song. And I assumed, I think it is based on an older story, but actually it was written in 1948. So when I was getting it in 1948, it was a brand new song. But the big thing was, we lived in Richmond, Virginia, with its old houses and its history and its big green trees. And I wanted to live in the West. I wanted to live in Texas. I had my cap pistol at the ready. And I fought all the time with my neighbor boy, Billy Boy Mickey, over who was the best cowboy. Because I knew it was the king of the cowboys, Roy Rogers, and he insisted it was that other person, Gene Autry. And we actually rolled in the dirt and fought with, I think, tooth and nails over who was the best cowboy. But it wasn't very long after that Christmas that the news came from my father, who was an accountant, that he was going to join a brand new industry. And we were going to move to Texas. That was natural gas. He went with a company that was building the first pipeline of natural gas from the Mexican border to the Canadian border. Quite an event. So we moved And I was so excited. Texas, Roy Rogers, people on horses, everything was perfect. And so before we ever got to the rather dismal apartment my father had rented, he said, we'll go down the old Spanish Trail. The excitement. I was sure I'd probably see Roy Rogers, and there'd be people on horses and cattle, and we go down the old Spanish Trail, and it's just a plain old street in Houston. There was nothing special about it. Houston was a grim place. That was 1950, and it was the polio epidemic. And though there were many public pools, they were all closed because of polio. And for that matter, many of the movies were also closed. I hated it. And I was still looking for that Texas of my imagination. And I think when I go down to San Miguel in Mexico, there's just a trace of that feeling that I have when I think about Pecos Bill and a special Texas of my imagination. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo.
So we now have the Salish Singers with a, actually it's a poem song, if you want to believe who wrote it. It's Sun, Moon, Stars, and Rain, but before we get that underway, Celeste, do you want to tell us about the community offering for this month and next month?
Good afternoon. My name is Celeste Dybeck. I'm a Jamestown S'Klallam elder, and I'm lead on the Chetsimoka Trail. I'm sure some of you have heard about it. Has anybody not heard about it? Now, don't laugh. It's not funny. But I forgot to pass these out. The Chetsimoka Trail was opened June of 2019. We're in our 7th year. Jamestown, it's a 12-mile walking, biking, driving route that tells the history of the indigenous people, the S'Klallam Indians when they lived here, and Katai, also known as Port Townsend, was the capital for the Klallams. The white settlers came and things changed. Did you know that at the current post office, the 2 columns in front at the top, the faces, does anybody know whose face that is? It's Chief Chetsimoka, his brother Clouston, and his 2 wives. Yes, he had 2 wives because he had money. His wives were Sihametsa and Chilil. Did you know that the current leader building used to be the courthouse? And prior to the courthouse, it was home to the Masons. And the Masons outgrew it. They had over 600 members, so they sold it to the county. It became the county courthouse. And Chief Chetsimoka's body laid in state for 3 days before his humongous, biggest ever in the state of Washington funeral at Laurel Grove. So what am I doing here today? Jamestown S'Klallam tribe has been very generous in supporting the trail. They have paid for all the signs, the designing of the signs. In the carving shed, Bud Turner designed our signs. They paid for all the permits, etc. And we were given the chore of paying for the booklets and paying for the trail maps. That's it. They've done everything else. So we print these, sell them, and make money to buy the brochures, which are in the 2 kiosks, one across from the Maritime Center and one at Chetsimoka Park. So currently we are struggling to buy more brochures. So that's what I'm here for today, to help pay for more brochures. And Barb, I know I'm up to 3 minutes. I'm going to make it quick. So I have a deal for you guys today. We also have a children's book called Willow Whoops. And originally we wanted a children's book written from the point of view of a child riding his or her bike on the trail. And tribal council said, well, the book needs to be written by a tribal citizen. Well, that's my daughter, who has a master's in education. So a couple of years later, she said, Mom, bike ride didn't resonate with me. So she wrote about the Indians wanting to go to the war with the white settlers who weren't abiding by the treaty that was signed in 1855. That would be the Point No Point Treaty. So for you today, I could sell you both of these for $25, or one for $12 and one for $12. So anyway, we need a few pennies to buy more brochures. So what's going on with the trail today? We have been working with the city for 2 or 3 years. It's slow going. And they have agreed, the City of Port Townsend, the Port Townsend Arts Commission, and the Historical Preservation Committee have approved our 9 needed sidewalk crosswalks. And in the crosswalks, we will have the salmon egg, which is our wayfinding symbol, which is this little egg right here. So we will have colored crosswalks. And they have also approved signs, which are they're already made, and 30 of these will be going up around the 12-mile route with arrows pointing which direction. So anyway, we're still working on the trail, and we still need a few pennies, so thank you for supporting the Chetsimoka Trail. Thank you.
Thank you. Shall I read this poem before we sing it? Sure. Okay. Yeah. No. Let me read this poem for you, since it's hard to pick up all the words as we sing them, even though we try very hard to put them all out. E. Cummings. Anyone lived in a pretty how town with up so floating many bells down? Spring, summer, autumn, winter, he sang his didn't, he danced his did. Women and men, both little and small, cared for anyone not at all. They sowed their isn't, they reaped their same. Sun, moon, stars, rain. Children guessed, but only a few, and down they forgot as up they grew. Autumn, winter, spring, summer, that none loved him more by more. When by now and tree by leaf she laughed his joy, she cried his grief. Bird by snow and stir by still, any was all to her. Someone married their every ones, laughed their cryings and did their dance, sleep, wake, hope, and then they said their nevers, they slept their dream. Sun, rain, sun, moon. And only the snow can begin to explain how children are apt to forget to remember, with up so floating many bells down. One day anyone died, I guess, and none stooped to kiss his face. Busy folk buried them side by side, little by little, and was by was. All by all and deep by deep, with more by more, they dream their sleep. None and anyone, earth by April, wish by spirit, and if by yes. Women and men, both dong and ding, summer, autumn, winter, spring, reaped their sowing and went their came. Sun, moon, stars, rain.
He sang his guilty, danced his day. My name's Liz Barnes, and I'm going to read a poem by Naomi Shihab Nye entitled Kindness. What I love about this poem is that Naomi finds the only logical response, the only possible response to suffering in the world is to be kind. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go. So you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. Passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in the white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see that this could be you. How he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it until your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to mail letters and purchase bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world and says, "It is I." That it is I you have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend.
going to do this. I think I'll just do it.
We
this
got
way.
time.
And then I can sit down. And have my crib sheet in case I need it. Thanks. Hi there, I'm Sarah Hall, and I'm going to share with you today the lyrics of a song called There Is a Place. It's from a CD that was recorded in 1994 by two women, a folk duo, who called themselves Wild Roses. The name of the album, the CD, is Voices in the Wind, and the two women are from Sandpoint, Idaho, and it was Beth Peterson and Cindy Borup. Now, Cindy Borup wrote the music and the lyrics for the songs in the album, and the two of them performed, I'm told, all around the area. Cindy was, during the time that she was creating this music, she was dealing with a terminal cancer diagnosis, and she died in 1998. Now, from 1996 to the year 2000, I was enrolled in a spiritual study program called the Pathwork, and one of the people in my class in the Pathwork was a woman from Sandpoint, and she brought the music, Cindy and Beth's music, to us and shared it with us. My life partner at that time had been diagnosed, or was diagnosed with colon cancer in 1992, and so we were very touched by Beth and Cindy's music and felt a real kinship in that we were dealing with the same sort of up and down and remissions and surgeries, etc., as they had been. And Claire and I made a road trip to Sandpoint in 1999, and my Pathwork friend introduced us to Beth, to the surviving member of the Wild Roses, and she gifted me with the sheet music for the song, and it's close to my heart. So, There Is a Place by Cindy Borup. There is a place you can always go. Come with me. And it's all right to let your feelings show. Come with me. What a pleasant journey. It isn't very far. We can go together. Stay right where you are. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. There is a place where you can be yourself. Come with me. There is a place where you can free yourself. Come with me. And you know it's waiting, not so far away. Need no reservation, we could go today. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. There is a place where every sorrow ends. Come with me. Where every hope and every truth begins. Come with me. What a pleasant journey. Isn't very far. We can go together. Stay right where you are. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart.
May it be so. I will now have the closing hymn. And you can sing along with the Salish Singers. And it's Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. For the benediction, I came across this poem recently. It's fairly new, but it's Somewhere in This Night, and it's by Diane Walker. I know it can be dark these days, but somewhere in this night, though it be tucked behind a cloud, there is a light that shines. And though you cannot see that light, you may be called to be that light for others who still struggle in the dark. So, let's see. And the closing words, we extinguish this.
But not the loving joy of being freely together. We carry that joy until we meet again.
And I want to thank everybody that participated in the service today. You know, there's the people behind the scenes as well as those who are here and those that were brave enough to speak. And it's a very enjoyable event, and I'm glad that we're able to carry it on. So thank you very much, singers and everyone. The people that did provide poems, I'm not going to send them to the library to answer, but they'll be mixing with you in the coffee, and I think any of them that you want to talk with, they'll be there. So, and thank you for your participation this morning.